Hello, my lovelies. It's been a little while since I gave you a useful video, one where I give you advice or tips or assistance and make your life a little bit more wonderful. But I recently received a message through my Patreon that made my heart feel so light and so happy, in which someone told me how helpful my dance partnership video was, or my learning from video, or filming yourself video was. And that just brought me so much joy and so much lightness into my heart that I thought I would just chat about it for a little bit. Like, chat about something useful for you guys. Do the intro, let's go. I thought I would give you some tips on how to be better at practicing / motivating yourself to practice when you may be feeling a little bit bad about your dancing right now. Because maybe you're like me and you feel shitty that you have not been practicing enough and that you are a terrible person because everyone else seems to be practicing and posting so many amazing videos and you're not really doing that. And I feel you very much right now. So here are some ways I motivate myself to practice and how to make sure I have a useful practice session when I am doing something useful and not just painting more things I don't need to paint. These practice tips will hopefully be good for you if you don't have a partner or if you do have a partner. If you do have a partner you're practicing with, they may be a little bit more negotiation and communication required, but you should be doing that anyways because you saw my dance partnership video and are aware of how to communicate clearly, consistently, and often with your friends. Yay, communication! Tip number 1, have a goal or a project in mind. Every time I go into the studio or I go into a practice session without anything that I have planned, or I'm just sort of like, I'm here, now what? It always goes very poorly and it's very unproductive. So have a goal in mind. Whether it be today I'm gonna work on some basic techniques, some fundamental skills, or I'm gonna make a choreography by the end of the session, or I want to make a video that I can post on the internet that I feel very proud of. These are all perfectly excellent goals, and I recommend you have something you're working towards. Set out dedicated time and space for your practice session. If you have a spare room that you can use, a dance room maybe, or you just have a bit of kitchen, like have that as your dedicated dance space, and that when you enter that space, this is dance time. So make sure you have your music ready, you have your shoes on, you have a different outfit on. Put yourself in practice mode by changing what you're wearing or the space you're in. You're more likely to be productive. If you're just like shuffling around in your pajamas all day, I'm speaking to myself here a lot, you're not actually gonna practice. You should change something about the environment or what you're wearing or the shoes you're in and not live your life in house slippers. If you are not feeling creative, have a backup plan. I have an hour-long playlist that sits on my laptop, and it starts off with a bunch of songs for warm-up, a couple of isolation drills, a bunch of like practice drills that I know I always need to be working on. So spins, turns, isolations, rhythm, that kind of thing. And then a couple songs for cool down. It takes about an hour. When I'm feeling particularly terrible and I just don't really want to do any training, but I know I should do something, I pop on that playlist. As the song comes on, I know this is my warm-up song, I know this is my isolation drill song, I know this is my spin drill song or whatever it is, and I just work my way through the playlist. This allows me to take away the decision-making process of what I should be doing, and I've already made the decision, this song equals this thing, I do this thing now. And that allows me to have practice sessions that are really productive even when I'm feeling really terrible. So put yourself together a playlist of music that you know that you have a thing to do to that song. You don't have that hurdle of needing willpower to train anymore. You just know, I have to do it because the song is on, and then you just do it. And then you have a good practice session and you feel better about yourself afterwards. And maybe next time you come to training, you will have a bit more motivation because you did a good training session last time. Film yourself. Film yourself all the time. Have record of what your dancing looks like. Make sure you keep that forever because one day you're gonna look back at it and it's gonna be hilarious. But more importantly, you need to make a connection between what your body is doing and how it feels and what it looks like, because that's not always the same thing, and you need to be able to close that feedback loop. So film everything, even if you feel like it's gonna be terrible, and watch it. It's gonna be terrible forever if you don't watch it. So try to make sure you film yourself and watch it back as much as you can, because it'll be a really good little way of closing that feedback loop to improve your dancing in the future. Finally, if you are so inclined and you have the funding available to you and you need that extra support, look into getting a coach. It's really hard sometimes to know what you should be working on and to feel good about working on stuff. And sometimes you don't even know when you watch that video back what you should be looking for. Lots of teachers right now, myself included, are suffering because our jobs are slowly being taken away by COVID again. Seriously, the Italian government is not letting me teach classes anymore. It's really annoying. It's really useful sometimes to have somebody on your team. Our job is to help motivate you, to help remove those blocks between you and having a great practice session. So if you have the expendable income right now and you want that extra support, there are plenty of instructors out there who could really use your support and also would love to help you. Hi, that's me as well. So to sum up, if you want to have a great practice session, you basically need to remove the blockades between you doing a great practice session and like all the things that might stop you. Make sure you have a good space to do it in, like change your outfit. Basically, we want to not rely on willpower to help you have a practice session. If we're waiting for willpower to kick in, like, no, that's not going to happen. We're all unmotivated. We're all sad. It's freaking pandemic times. So like, let's not rely on motivation and willpower getting you into that practice room. Let's rely on other things that are much easier to rely on, like having a great playlist all set up, ready to go, having a space where you know it's dance time, having the right outfit on and not be living your life in pajamas the whole time. These are things which do not require willpower and do not require internal motivation to be artistic and creative and dance. These are things that you can completely control. Having a goal that you want to hit, hey, I'm gonna have a new choreography to this whole song by next month. You were not relying on some internal desire to be creative. We're like, well, I said I would spend an hour today doing solo jazz, working on my spins, so I've got my shoes on and I'm in the space and the music's playing, so I guess I have to do it. If you're anything like me, COVID and pandemic has completely destroyed any internal motivation to be creative and wonderful. There has to be another way to push yourself to keep dancing, because dancing brings you so much joy. I mean, it brings me so much joy. When I do finally make myself actually move to music, I always feel so much better afterwards, and I always am so happy I did it. It's just somehow getting myself to do that is really hard right now. Maybe you relate. Those are the things that I do to force myself into being a better person and practicing more, because I know it'll make things better in the long run. I just don't believe it when I'm sitting around in my pajamas all the time. I hope you're doing well. I'm really not. I'm really doing quite terribly. I'm no longer allowed to teach in-person classes again, and my birthday is coming up, and I think I'm gonna be sending my birthday self-isolated. So, if you want to send me some birthday messages, it's on November 6th. Would love to have a little bit of friendship, a little bit of love from the internet. Anyways, this is a weird ending for this video. Bye! I'm fine. I swear to God, I'm fine. I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine. If I say it enough times, maybe it'll be true.